beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was. And anyway, besides that, thank you for all of you who are out there loving and supporting Starlight. And make sure you slow down. You know, it's so easy to move too fast. And when you do that, you're going to miss out on things, you know, that you really want to pay attention to. So besides that, hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget the notification bell, and you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family or friends. Plus, don't forget my playlist, and you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. And also, if anyone would like to love to send any love donations to Starlight, you can through my Cash App, and I will have the information here. Ping, there it is. And you know, I was actually going back and forth on two different topics, so I only can pick one. So I guess I'm going to stay with the first one that I was going to work on. I can always do the other one another time, but this is about your thoughts. You know, your thoughts. What do you think anyway? You know, your thoughts are so important. You know, and I'll tell you what, many of us have been tripped up along this, you know, our life, you know, one way or another, you know, through our family, which, you know, we can't really blame that on them because they were only teaching what they were taught, you know, and then the public school, you know. So yes, there's a lot of things, you know, like when people go to court, you know, the judge, it's like, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Well, you know, the big, huge problem in history is they left the truth out. They didn't really put all the truth in the history books, because I'll tell you what, little kids growing up would have nightmares, you know, and it's a good possibility a lot of kids did have nightmares learning stuff in history, because isn't that shocking? And I didn't learn everything, but I learned enough to know that not everything that we were told was the truth. And there's even so much, even in the Bible, you know, that people don't know really what the truth was way back, you know, in the beginning of time, and what was really happening. So there's been a lot of lies, but with your thoughts, you know, and your words are so important. And so you got to really be careful of what are you thinking, you know, and positivity is really important when it comes to manifesting things, or even if you pray about things and having things to come in your reality. So we really got to be careful what we think as far as, you know, what we're going to create as far as your reality goes. So anyway, this video is to inspire you. It's about how your words or your thoughts, you know, are creating your reality. So the reason why I bring up the things in history is that we all been lied to one way or another through family, school, the church, yes, the church. And so long time ago, you know, I was told in church is if you had thoughts, it was okay, that those thoughts were okay, and that wasn't gonna do anything wrong, you know, as far as, you know, sinning goes. But you know what? I found out that wasn't true. You know, those things weren't true. So our thoughts are really important. And so you really got to be mindful is what are you thinking? Because you are creating your reality by your thoughts and your words. And, there's people, I've met lots of people on this journey, and, talking to many people all around the United States. And a lot of people are tripping themselves up and they don't even know about it. Whether they're being honest with Starlight or whether they're lying about what they're saying. So you really got to be careful what you are being told as far as this reality goes. Sorry, Starlight's got an itch. Because your beliefs is going to determine your reality in a big, huge way. It can either be a great thing that you're going to be creating because of what you believe, or it's going to, lots of rabbit trails, and it will bring you all over the place, and where you'll waste most of your life. And that's what's happened to a lot of people in the world. They start figuring things out in their 70s and 80s and 90s. What are they going to do? Not saying that they can't be used, but now, what? Their whole life is gone. So now they really can't do all the things that they would like to do when it took them that long to actually finally figure things out. So your thoughts are so important. So, and that is why I've been doing this every day, and it's amazing is, and then, what? I get rewarded. And, it's easy to live up in our headspace, isn't it? Because I did this a long time ago when my brother was still here. I tell you what, there's a lot of thoughts that we get in one day, but I didn't know that not all my thoughts were my own. So it's really important to understand that not everything that you're thinking actually is coming from you. We're all connected, we're all one. So a lot of times we're picking up stuff from other people, and we're not even aware of it. We think that, those are our thoughts. So you got to be mindful of what you are thinking, because it's like a little seed that you plant, and then that thought seed, we're going to call it a thought seed, gets bigger. The more energy that you put on that one thought. A lot of people do this or say this is like, I can't do that. They see other people doing it. There's people that won't even attempt to try to do something. They look at it and they just run. They don't even, for instance, starting a YouTube channel, writing a book, they're looking at all the work, not realizing that they can do it. They can do that. They can do anything that they put their minds to. So you don't want to limit yourself, and like reprogramming the way you think. The I am affirmations are so valuable. And I have to say, when I started doing the I am affirmations, I thought, come on, my whole life growing up, I was called stupid. So I ended up believing it because I heard it so much at home, by family members, go to school. I didn't hear that at church, but I did hear it at school, and at home. So those are the two places, and it was a lot. So, and then to be an adult and say the I am affirmations, I am smart, when, your whole childhood and even through your rest, because whatever happens to you when you're younger, it has a way of sticking with you forever. But you got to understand those are tests. You're being tested as far as believing in yourself. And we are our worst enemy. So you can change the way you think and the way you speak. And I met a man and his wife, and it's kind of funny. Their names was my kind of crazy. My daughter's name and her dad's name, but they were a couple. So that was I'll tell you what, that connection was meant to happen. It was no accident that I met these people, and I started talking to him because the man, I inspired this man. He really needed help. It felt really great because I didn't feel anything in their energy that they didn't want to hear me, so I took time out to inspire this man and his wife, with the way they think, getting them to believe in things, and And even no matter who you are, a lot of people have different backgrounds, and this even happens with people that go to church, people that say they're Christians. They struggle with this because there's levels to this. Everybody has a different background, and your words are creating your reality. I didn't know this. I thought, hey, I thought, man, I guess I'm hard. I mean, like my brother and I, we talked a lot, and we were like, wow, we had active minds, thinking all the time, thinking of creating stuff. We were tearing things apart when we talked. We wanted to figure things out. We were, trying to help each other to piece all these puzzles together, these puzzle pieces out, in the world, and trying to make sense of why this world is so screwed up, And so we would nonstop, from the moment that we would be visiting each other, which normally it's me going to his house when he was here because he didn't have a car, is that we were talking, but you got to be careful what you say and what you think, because, I would be so much further on in my life if I knew this long time ago, like when I went to church. So Christians, people, believers, Christians that go to church, even though they hear the word of God all the time, a lot of times people are not even going to tell them your thoughts are important as much as what you say. So the I am affirmations are so important, and I've been doing those every morning. There's a man, I don't even know who these people are. They're all new people that I've been listening to. But, positive I am affirmations. And this world is so crazy, strange, that why can't we get along? Why can't we get along? Number one is that there's people that go to church. If I say I do I am affirmations, they don't want no part of it. Why not? You got to ask yourself, why not? I'm bettering myself. So you really got to, all of us need to learn to try things. What's the big harm in saying, I am positive? Oh, no, you want to say, that you don't believe in yourself. So it is really weird. I meet a lot of people that claim that they go to church or know Jesus or know God or are called Christians or called believers. If I have certain conversations like this, they're closed-minded. They don't want it. They've been programmed, but they don't realize that the I am affirmations can really, really help them out. And, to change their way of thinking and, what they're creating in their own reality. So we got to be mindful. I'm not here. We can't force anybody to do anything. But, at the same time, that is one of the reasons why I actually don't go to church, is because I have a free will. And, having people control you and tell you, no, Starlet, you can't do the I am affirmations. Know this and know that and know that. You know what? I want to break all those rules, because I don't answer to people, I answer to God. And the I am affirmations has helped me out every day to get food on I don't have a plate right here, but to get food on my plate by being positive and trusting. I pray, God, please help me. Today I need a meal. I need something to eat tonight. I need money so I can actually get a meal. By me being positive, I am actually manifesting my meal by trusting that God's going to take care of all my needs. So it is so important is that you got to really have a mind of your own self and say, what do I believe? And you really do. You got to be careful of what people tell you. Am I telling you something is a negative thing. That's, it would be different if I was teaching people, about negative stuff to, not to believe in themselves. But no, I'm here to get people to believe in themselves and to turn that switch instead of thinking you can't do something. A lot of Christians, people, believers, non-believers, Christians, believers, praying about stuff. It's great to pray. I am a power prayer person. But we got to take action at the same time. And by being positive, because how many thoughts do you get in a day? Wow. I'll have to have that number on my video here. How many thoughts does an average person get every day? So how many of those thoughts are negative? That's what we need to turn around, because that's energy, So there's people that I've met, so many people, and it's the same types of people that go to church, people that believe in God. It could even be family members, or and I say, oh, I'm doing the I am affirmations, or like, everything is going my way. Is that bad to say? So you really got to have a mind of your own, and to take your power back and decide for yourself. You know what? Like there's a lot of videos of the I am affirmations. It says, try this, listen to this video 21 days, and the video might be maybe a half hour or maybe an hour long, depending. There's all different kind of videos out there about I am affirmations, and through time, I've been doing the I am affirmations maybe around 2022, 23, somewhere around there. And you know what? I had sticky notes all in my apartment, all around in my apartment. I had stars, and I'll tell you what, if you walked in my apartment when I had it, and all the beautiful colors and, it was positivity all through my whole place. I had love all through my place, hearts, butterflies, it was colorful, beautiful. I actually had people that came into my apartment when I was actually moving out. I was trying to sell all my arts and crafts and sell whatever I could to get some money. So when I leave, I had money. Is that they're like, wow, they felt the energy in my apartment. Because anywhere you look, it was all a positive. So it is energy. And you are creating your reality, your relationships, when you stress out and you're afraid, that's what you got, this is what you got to watch out for, is fear. When you're struggling and you're not trusting that everything's going to turn out great, everything's going to go your way. It's so easy to have a negative thought. There's nothing wrong with doing, I am happy, I am abundant. But there's so many people that have been programmed that they don't even have a mind of their own. And that's a sad story. I just talked to 3 young ladies just the other day. They've been all programmed. They don't have a mind. They're running off of a system program. They don't have a mind of their own. People get in such a fear of trying something new because, I've been on this program. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't go over there. I can't go over there. I'll tell you what, I just made a video the other day about failure is not a bad thing. No matter what you do in life, if you're with God, there's all kinds of lessons that we need to learn in this reality. So I look at my own life. Yeah, I made a lot of wrong choices in my reality, in my life, in my past. But guess what? I'm back. I'm back right here. Even if I took the wrong turn and, had to have some time to think about stuff after being in a cult church. It's just like a 360. I got right back to where I was, but even stronger. And my faith has even grown even more, almost like I never got off track. It's amazing how this reality is. It's amazing how God is, So you really gotta really, believe in yourself, and you gotta really check those out, the I am affirmations. And you don't want to be in a box, because there's so many people out there. They've been put in a box. They don't even realize that I have a box in my car, but you don't want to, what do I use that box for? You don't want to be put in a box. But there's so many people, they are not even aware of what has happened to them. And young kids and young teenagers, they're easy to control in a program. And that's exactly what happens. It starts out when they're growing up in the homes, and to keep them, into a box. So then when somebody's actually reaching out and helping them and telling them stuff, people get closed-minded, and they're not even, they don't want nothing to do with it, because they've been programmed to stay in the box, not to actually get out. You don't want to stay in a box. You don't want to be closed-minded. You want to be open-minded, and explore life, because if no matter what, it is all written. You don't want to live in fear, and that's where a lot of people, they live in fear, afraid to do this, afraid to do that. When you go out and find out what it's like, that you'll be like, wow. Because I learned when I was younger, if somebody told me not to do something, you know what? I went out and did it anyway. I had to find out for myself. And man, did I find out. Because you know what? Even though they said something, just like parents bringing up kids, they tell them, hey, don't do that. It's danger out there. No. Can't do this, can't do that. And what do the teenagers do? They go out and do it anyway. They need to learn that. You know what? Because they're always gonna, hey, don't do drugs. But then they see their friends doing drugs and they're happy and they look like they're having fun. Hey, don't drink. But then they look at their friends, hey, they look like they're having a fun time. After a while, they're gonna end up going out, running out and trying it anyway. Most of them. It's a very rare occasion. Like my son, he's a rare case. So your thoughts are really important. So check out on YouTube, and I don't have my notebook in here, but the I am affirmations. I am abundant. I am wealthy. I am love. Whatever it is that you want. I am peaceful. I am honest. What's wrong with saying I am honest? And you got to feel these. I am honest. This world is a better place with me in it. What's wrong with that? That's what I don't, you don't want to be so programmed that you can't think for yourself. That would be a really boring life if I had other people always deciding for me what I can and can't do, and that's what my whole life was like. I feel so amazing now that I am free. But you know what? I had to go through all those lessons a long time ago about not to do that, not to do that. You know what? But I'm back, it's like I never went off track when I was on fire for God, in a church. It's like I never, I ended up getting, for those of you that don't know, I ended up going with a man that went to an occult church. The church that I was going at, it was a First Baptist church. It was dying. I was on fire, and the church was dying. They were going out in the world. Couldn't even get anybody to help me out after bringing all the kids to the church, because they were out chasing the things of the world. But it was my highlight time when I was in a church. And they say when when you're really doing things for God, which I was bringing, like the most out to church is 50 kids out to church, that's when the devil comes, and that's exactly what happened. And I ended up getting going in with a man that was a wolf in sheep's clothing and was going to an occult church for 7 years that I was in there. And then, when I got out, I had to go, I was confused. I was like, what the heck, Now what do I do? And I tried to find another church, but all of them were controlling. All of them were, I couldn't even sit in a church without them telling me, you can't sit next to that 70-year-old. Really? I can't, I was dressed up modestly. I knew how to dress. I was actually ready to join the church, ready to jump in, and I sat next to a 70-year-old man, and the church had a problem with that. Phew, there goes Starlight. See ya. Don't want to be So I am free. But it's funny, even though I left the church because it was an occult church beating kids, I was not going to sit there and watch this. They were abusing kids, I had to go my own way. God let me. God never left me. I had to go my own way. And yeah, I did a lot of crazy stuff. I put myself at risk all the time for those years, from 2007 all the way up until 2016, 17, 18. All those years, Starlight did whatever she wanted to do. But I got saved in 95, and God brought me back. God went out for that one. So that's what you got to really be careful out there, is you don't want other people controlling you, but I'm here to say that I am affirmations work. I'm amazed of who I am today than who I was before. I needed help. I had such a big war inside my head every freaking day. Couldn't shut this thing up, and it was a lot of negativity. And I have to say, thanks to my mentor, Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, that is when I met this man a long time ago in 2017. So it's amazing how I did this 360 and came right back. I am here living for God. So your thoughts are really important. Your thoughts and what you say are very important. But don't let other people control you and tell you what you can't do. Show them what you can do. Because there's a lot of people that they're not believing in themselves. They're not even aware. Not all your thoughts are your own, but at the same time, your thoughts have a big, huge impact on how your reality turns out, because it's energy. And the more attention you put on negativity, a lot of times we're not even aware of it. That's why the universe will give me numbers to help me out, because I'm not even aware of my thoughts most of the time. And there's times that the universe will let me know, hey, you gotta be positive, no matter what. It's not an easy journey here, but you don't want anybody to shut you out and keep you in a box. You want to be open-minded. We can't just, there's an invisible slavery out there. I didn't realize I actually, it is a spiritual warfare out here. But you want to be free. You don't want to be in chains, in an invisible slavery. You don't want people controlling you, what you can do and what you can't. And you know what? There's definitely times that we're going to screw up and go the wrong way, do the wrong thing. But it's going to find out. It's all about finding out who you really are. Are you a person living for Satan or God? That's what it's going to break down to. So it's not as bad as what people think. And God will be there the whole time. God never forsaken me like I thought. God was there the whole entire time. There was times I didn't know why my life was spiraling out of control. God was actually protecting my ass. God brought me exactly, I mean, I am so much doing a whole lot better. It's like I said, it's like I did a 360. I was here and I went around, did my own thing, and came right back, and I'm still living for God. I don't have to be living for God right now. God gave me a free will. I could have been doing what I was doing in my apartment, just, wasting my life away, drinking wine and working, doing what most people do out there, the ones that are living for the world. But you know what? God put me through some stuff, and it tested me in so many ways. So your thoughts are really important in what you think. And so you want to get control of those things so you can bring in the things that you really desire in your reality. I love you so much. So this is Starlight. Don't let other people control you. You got to take your power back. You're not going to go through this life. It will be a boring life, and you'll really never know your full potential in this reality if you stay in a box. So a lot of people don't get that. And that is why I am free of being in the church. If you want to go to church, go to church. But, I am spiritual and not religious. And so there's people out there, they want to control other people and tell them what they can or can't do. You got to take your power back and decide on what you want to do. And, life isn't about taking risk. It's not about staying in the box, because this is how you're going to grow. This is going to be how you're going to find out who you truly are and what side you're on as far as this reality. And no matter what, God already knows what you're going to do ahead of time. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.